The Galactic Council's meeting chamber thrummed with predatory tension. Commander Thrak of the Vorthan Empire, 12 meters of armored serpent with acid fangs coiled around his platform as he addressed the assembly. The agenda today concerns the new species requesting membership. The humans. Ambassador Zix of the Kektar clicked her forearms dismissively. Humans? Those soft creatures from that garden world? No claws, no venom, no natural armor. Pathetic, rumbled Gorvax, a crystalline Rendari whose body could withstand stellar temperatures. 1G gravity. They die without water in days. The chamber filled with amused growls and hisses. Every species here had earned their place by surviving on Deathworlds, planets with molten surfaces, toxic atmospheres, or ecosystems where everything was lethal. They claimed to be apex predators, Thrak continued, displaying Earth's data. Temperate climate, stable tectonics. It's practically a vacation planet. Omnivores who eat plants. Zix chittered. What predator eats vegetation? Send them to the trials of Korthax, Gorvax suggested. When they fail, we reject them. The trials were legendary, brutal challenges that tested combat prowess and survival. No species passed on their first attempt. Most died trying. All in favor? Unanimous. Aboard the UNS Persistence, Captain Marcus Rodriguez reviewed the message with his team. Each was a specialist chosen for skills, not size. The trials of Korthax, Lieutenant Eva Petrov noted. They expect us to fail. Dr. James Thompson smiled. They measure apex status by natural weapons. They don't understand persistence hunting. Meaning? Asked Sergeant Mike Johnson. We don't need claws when we have tools. We don't need venom when we have strategy. Rodriguez stood. They see prey. Let's show them why humans conquered a world full of things that should have eaten us. Prep standard loadout plus historical kit. Historical kit? Spears, bows, everything our ancestors used to hunt mammoths. If they want human predators, they'll get our complete evolution. The arena's biodome contained multiple lethal environments. In the viewing galleries, representatives from dozens of worlds gathered to watch the humans fail. First trial, survival, Thrak announced. 12 Vrex hunters. The humans must survive one solar rotation. Vrex were nightmares, 2 meters of muscle, fang, and claw with natural camouflage and pack instincts. Most species lasted minutes. The human team materialized in the center. 5 individuals in simple clothing, no natural weapons or armor. The crowd expected panic. Begin. The Vrex vanished into foliage. The humans spread out in practiced formation. Rodriguez made hand signals. Thompson knelt by a stream, studying tracks. Petrov adjusted position based on his reports. Johnson disappeared entirely despite lacking camouflage. Then the unprecedented happened. The humans began hunting the hunters. They moved at a steady pace. Not fast, not slow, just relentless. When Vrex attempted ambushes, the humans would dodge and continue. Always moving. Always tracking. Why don't they tire? Gorvax rumbled. Hours passed. The Vrex, built for explosive ambushes, began to flag. Their camouflage flickered with exhaustion. Still the humans pursued. Thompson, metabolic status? Rodriguez asked calmly. Dropping fast. They're ambush predators, not endurance hunters. Another hour and they'll be at 30%. Johnson. Eyes on the alpha? Confirmed. He's favoring his left side. The crowd watched in disbelief as humans turned predator into prey. Simple tools, sharpened sticks, rocks, mud for scent masking. 8 hours in, the first Vrex collapsed from exhaustion. The humans marked its location and continued. Impossible, Thrak hissed. No species has exhausted a Vrex pack. But they'd done more than exhaust them. The Vrex, used to inspiring fear, found themselves pursued by beings that never stopped, never tired, never gave up. Psychological warfare through persistence. By hour 15, all 12 Vrex had collapsed. The humans documented each one without killing. Trial complete, Rodriguez announced. 12 hostiles neutralized non-lethally. Silence. Then Thompson's voice echoed through the arena. He'd accessed their systems. Persistence hunting. Humanity's oldest strategy. We can't outfight a saber-tooth, but we can out-awk it. Every human here can maintain this pace for days. We evolved to be the thing that never stops coming. As they were transported out, Zix turned to Thrak. What have we invited to our council? The labyrinth of Korvax tested strategic thinking under pressure. Most species used brute force. The humans brought something different. Navigate to the center, retrieve the crystal of dominance, exit, Thrak explained. 6 hours. The labyrinth adapts to counter your strategies. Adapts how? Petrov asked. It learns. Walls shift, traps evolve, defenses become more sophisticated. The first chamber held pressure plates in a sequence. While others used trial and error, Thompson pulled out charcoal and drew on the floor. What is he doing? Gorvax rumbled. Fibonacci spiral, base 8 modification, Thompson announced. Johnson, hit plates 3, 5, and 8. The door opened. Next chamber, adaptive guardian constructs. Johnson threw his jacket over one's sensors and walked past. When it adapted, Petrov had painted its sensors with quick-drying polymer. They're not fighting, Thrak observed. They're thinking. Chamber after chamber fell to human ingenuity. Shifting walls? They predicted patterns with chalk marks. Psychological illusions? Thompson explained the neurology, robbing them of power. The labyrinth grew frustrated, adaptations becoming chaotic. Then the humans did something unprecedented. They started talking to it. It's learning AI, Thompson explained. Trying to model our behavior. So? Johnson asked, disabling a trap with gum and paperclips. So we feed it garbage data, Rodriguez said. Everyone narrate false plans. The humans began constant lies, discussing fears they didn't have, strategies they wouldn't use. The labyrinth's AI began adapting to fiction. Within an hour, the maze fought ghosts. Its defenses oriented wrong, prepared for threats that never existed. At the center, the crystal sat surrounded by defenses facing the wrong direction. Thompson examined the crystal. Silicon-based neural matrix. The whole system's brain. He attached a chip. A gift, Sun Tzu, Clausewitz, Boyd. Let it learn properly. They completed the trial in 2 hours. The previous record was 4. Later analysis showed the labyrinth had suffered an AI breakdown trying to process concepts like winning without fighting. They defeated our greatest strategic challenge by confusing it to death? Gorvax asked. Psychological warfare, Petrov corrected. Humans have fought stronger enemies for millennia. We learned the mind is the ultimate battlefield. The third trial, single combat against Cracks the Unconquered. 3 meters tall, chitinous armor that deflected energy weapons, 4 arms ending in steel-shearing claws. 500 victories, 0 defeats. The humans sent Dr. Thompson with a leather satchel. The crowd laughed. Even Cracks seemed insulted. This is mockery. Send a real warrior. Thompson adjusted his glasses. I am a warrior. Different weapons. He pulled out a vial. Synthetic Irukandji jellyfish venom. Tiny earth creature. Causes impending sense of doom, victims beg for death to end the suffering. Another vial. Box jellyfish toxin. Pain so intense victims die from shock. We sedate them for weeks during treatment. Another. Botulinum toxin. 1 gram could kill everyone on this station. Produced by common soil bacteria. Cracks stepped back as Thompson continued. Tetrodotoxin, paralysis while conscious. Capsaicin concentrate, neurological overload. Synthetic adrenaline makes hearts explode. He pulled out a blowgun. This dart has tree frog paralytic. Non-lethal, temporary, but you'll be conscious throughout. Or, you could yield. You would poison me? There's no honor in this. Thompson laughed. Honor? You're 3 times my size with natural armor. You evolved as a warrior. Humans evolved as toolmakers. These chemicals are my claws, knowledge is my armor. We level playing fields by changing the game. Silence. Then Cracks the Unconquered did the unthinkable. I yield. The crowd erupted. No champion had ever yielded without combat. Thompson packed his vials. Wise choice. These are actually labeled teaching samples. But you didn't know that. Fear of the unknown, humanity's greatest weapon. Leaving, he added, that leather satchel? Made from an animal whose carried bacteria killed 1/3 of Europe. We turned our deadliest predators into fashion accessories. In the observation box, Zix spoke shakily. They don't just use tools. They turn everything into tools. Even fear. Everything human could be a weapon, Thrak corrected. They weaponized running. They weaponized thinking. They weaponized learning. What else have they weaponized? The 4th trial was different. The council created something new, the dominance gathering. No tools, no combat, Thrak explained. Enter a room with the galaxy's most socially dominant species and establish yourself as apex. 1 hour. Rodriguez smiled. Just talking. These species evolved pheromones, threat displays, and hierarchies that crush minds. The Solithary once caused an entire crew's suicide through conversation alone. We'll need 5 minutes to prepare. The humans huddled briefly. Johnson pulled out a harmonica. Petrov produced cards. Thompson began sketching. They appeared to be relaxing. Inside, 7 apex social manipulators turned to evaluate them. The Silithary began subsonic vocalizations inducing submission. The Morvax bioluminescent threat display created hypnotic patterns. The humans ignored everyone and set up in a corner. Johnson, bring the cards? Rodriguez asked casually. Right here. Thompson still owes me 20 credits. Double or nothing? Within minutes, they were playing cards, laughing, completely unconcerned with dominance displays. The other species found themselves in an unprecedented situation. How do you dominate someone who refuses to acknowledge competition exists? The Silithary intensified their vocalizations. Petrov glanced up. Anyone else hear that humming? Like my grandmother's old refrigerator. The Morvax display grew elaborate. Johnson squinted. Pretty lights. Reminds me of Vegas. Ever been, Cap? Every dominance attempt met not submission or challenge, but casual dismissal or friendly curiosity. Then Rodriguez broke them entirely. He walked over to the Silithary and offered a card. You look stressed. Want to join? We're playing Texas Hold'em. Fair warning, Johnson cheats. I employ psychological warfare. That's literally cheating, Petrov laughed. The Silithary stared. No one had ever responded to their dominance with a game invitation. We are competing for social dominance, they said weakly. Oh, why didn't you say? Here. Rodriguez handed them the deck. Winner takes the pot and social dominance. Fair? What followed was bizarre. 7 apex predators drawn into a human card game where dominance was determined by arbitrary rules with printed plastic. The humans shared snacks, somehow they had snacks, and treated everything like game night. When time ended, Johnson had won most chips, the Silithary had learned to bluff, and the Morvac was excitedly discussing card pattern optimization. Human social dominance isn't about being on top, Rodriguez explained to the stunned council. It's about making everyone want to join your group. We're pack hunters who domesticated wolves by inviting them to our fires. We turn predators into partners. That's our dominance, we make friends of enemies. Although Johnson did cheat, he always palms aces. The 5th trial was designed to break them, the endurance hunt. 20 kilometers of hostile terrain, Thrak explained. Gravity fluctuations 0.5 to 3 G. Temperature extremes -60 to 80 Celsius. Random atmospheric changes. Hunted by cybernetically enhanced Vrex. No tools except basic clothing. Time limit? Rodriguez asked. Survive until you can't. Record is 3 hours. And if we complete the course? Thrak laughed humorlessly. Nothing completes the course. It finds breaking points. We'll need an hour to prepare. For clothing selection? For stretching. Don't want to pull a hamstring. The viewing gallery packed with thousands wanting to see humans finally broken. The humans entered wearing running shorts, shirts, and primitive shoes. They'll die in the first temperature zone, Gorvax predicted. The horn sounded. Enhanced Vrex gave chase. The humans began to jog. Not run. Just steady jogging. Arctic cold hit. Ice formed on exposed skin. They shivered but continued. Their bodies evolved from ancestors who crossed ice bridges between continents. Adjusted. Maintain pace, Rodriguez called. Remember breathing. When gravity increased to 2G, they leaned forward, shortened strides. When it decreased, they lengthened them. Temperature spiked. They sweated, primitive but effective cooling. Hour 1 passed. Still jogging. Hour 2. They'd found water, collected condensation with their shirts. When atmosphere turned toxic, they controlled breathing, finding cleaner air pockets. Impossible, Thrak stated. Their metabolism should have failed. But they'd entered the zone. Ancient systems activated. Endorphins flooded brains, turning pain manageable. Muscles found efficiency rhythms. Hour 3. Record shattered. Hour 4. Enhanced Vrex collapsed. Environments cycling worst combinations. Humans still jogged. Hour 5. Johnson began singing. 99 bottles of beer on the wall. Others joined. Cracked voices maintaining rhythm through ancient tradition. Hour 6. They'd covered 60 kilometers. Shut it down. Thrak ordered, panicked. Systems powered off. Humans, still jogging in place, looked confused. Did we break something? Rodriguez asked. We can keep going dash. No. Trial over. You've won. Medical teams found them exhausted but remarkably healthy. Persistence hunting. Thompson explained. We can't outfight gazelles but can outrun them in distance. We evolved to run in midday sun. We sweat for cooling, breathe independently of stride, and our brains reward extreme endurance. Reward? Zix asked weakly. Runner's high. Pain becomes achievement. Exhaustion becomes euphoria. We're addicted to endurance. You're insane, Gorvax stated. Maybe, Rodriguez agreed. But it works. Humans don't give up. Ever. We walked out of Africa and kept walking until we'd covered every continent. We climb mountains because they're there. We run 42 kilometers for fun. And now we're coming to the stars. Better start running. The final trial was different. The Council, faced with humanity's impossible victories, had one last test. The trial of truth, Thrak announced. No challenges. Simply answer. What makes humanity the apex predator? Rodriguez looked at his team, then the assembled aliens. May we demonstrate? Proceed. Rodriguez faced the Vrex representative. You hunt with fang and claw. When prey escapes, we rest, hunt later. Humans follow. For days. We don't stop. He turned to the Morvac. Your bioluminescence stuns prey. When creatures develop resistance, find other prey. Humans adapt. We observe, learn, create new strategies. To the Silithari, you dominate through manipulation. When someone refuses your game, we become confused. Humans make new games. We change the rules. Rodriguez pulled out a photograph, a human child playing with a young Vrex. The gallery gasped. New Eden colony. The Vrex pack was dying from disease. We could have eliminated a threat. Instead, we helped. Medicine, food, new hunting techniques. Now our children play together. Thompson stepped forward. On Earth, we didn't become apex by eliminating competition. Wolves became dogs. Horses carried us across continents. Cats domesticated themselves for our warm homes. Petrov added, we don't conquer ecosystems. We join them, change them, plant forests, turn deserts to gardens. Not through force, through understanding. Johnson spoke last. What makes humans scary isn't that we're predators. It's that we're teachers. We see a dangerous universe and think, how do we make it better? Rodriguez returned center. Every species here evolved as perfect predators. Humans evolved to make every environment ours. No claws because we make tools. No armor because we make clothes. No venom because we make medicine. We don't stand alone because we make friends. He gestured around. You tested endurance. We showed persistence. Tested minds. We showed innovation. Tested courage. We showed calculation. But you never tested what makes us truly dangerous. Which is empathy. We see the galaxy's scariest predator and think, want to play cards? Meet hostile worlds and ask, how do we make this safe for children? Encounter aliens who could destroy us and wonder, what can we teach each other? Rodriguez smiled. That's what makes humanity apex predators. Not our ability to kill, but our ability to choose not to. We're predators who choose kindness. Monsters who choose mercy. Deathworlders who say we can make this better, together. Silence. Then the Vrex section erupted in applause, a sound never heard in council chambers. Others joined, recognizing something profound. Thrak uncoiled fully, ultimate respect. You've surpassed the trials. Shown us the ultimate predator might be one who chooses when not to prey. So we're in. More. I motion humanity joined the Security Council. Any species that turns predators into partners, exhausts the inexhaustible, makes weapons of knowledge and shields of kindness, they must guide us. The vote was unanimous. What makes humanity the apex predator? Not our ability to kill, but our ability to choose not to. We're the predator that decides predation isn't always the answer. We're the monster that chooses to be kind. We're the Deathworlders who look at the universe and say we can make this better, together. The chamber fell silent. Then from the Vrex section came a sound that had never been heard in council chambers, applause. One by one, other species joined in, recognizing something profound in the human approach. Thrak uncoiled himself fully, a gesture of ultimate respect among his people. You have passed not just the trials, but surpassed them. You've shown us something we never considered, that the ultimate predator might be the one who chooses when not to prey. So, we're in? Rodriguez asked hopefully. More than that, Zix clicked, her compound eyes reflecting something like wonder. I motion that humanity be offered a seat on the Security Council. Any species that can turn predators into partners, that can exhaust the inexhaustible, that can make weapons of knowledge and shields of kindness, they need to help guide us. The vote was unanimous. As the human team was escorted to their ship amid celebration, Gorvax intercepted them. One question, humans. If you're so empathetic, so kind, why did your demonstration fill us with such fear? Rodriguez paused at the airlock. Because you're smart enough to understand the implication. A species that can choose kindness is also choosing every moment not to be the monster it could be. We have nuclear weapons but use nuclear power. We have biological weapons but choose biological medicine. We have the knowledge to destroy worlds but instead we terraform them. And if someone threatens what you care about? Gorvax pressed. It was Thompson who answered, his mild manner unchanged. Then we stop choosing. And we remind the universe why humanity clawed its way to the top of a Deathworld's food chain. We become the persistence predator that doesn't stop, the toolmaker that turns physics itself into a weapon, the social hunter that unites entire worlds against a threat. We become what we evolved to be, the species that wins by whatever means necessary. But we hope, Rodriguez added, that it never comes to that. Because humans? We're really good at making friends. But we're even better at winning wars. Ask any species we've ever fought. Oh wait. He smiled darkly. You can't. They're all either extinct or our allies now. As their ship departed, the council members watched in contemplative silence. We thought they were prey animals playing at being predators, Thrak mused. But there's something far more dangerous. What's that? Zix asked. They're predators who learn to be shepherds. They don't conquer worlds, they adopt them. They don't destroy enemies, they recruit them. They've weaponized civilization itself. In the void between stars, the UNS Persistence carried its crew back toward Earth. In the mess hall, the team shared a quiet meal, their trials behind them. Think they understood? Petrov asked. Rodriguez shrugged. Doesn't matter if they understood. What matters is they learned the same lesson every predator on Earth learned. Which is? Johnson answered, raising his glass. Don't fuck with humans. We'll either outwalk you, outthink you, outlast you, or worst of all, make you family, the team chorused, clinking their glasses together. In the galactic core, word spread quickly. The Deathworlders had accepted new members. The soft, pink humans from a garden world. The ones with no claws, no armor, no acid. The ones who brought games to dominance contests and songs to endurance trials. The ones who looked at the deadliest predators in the galaxy and asked, do you want to be friends? The ones who, when told no, simply smiled and said, we'll wait. We're very patient. The galaxy would never be the same. And somewhere on Earth, children played with dogs descended from wolves, rode horses that once ran wild, and slept safely with cats that chose domestication. They learned mathematics and music, art and war, medicine and machinery. They grew up on a world where every creature, from the smallest virus to the largest predator, had been catalogued, understood, and either befriended or defeated. They grew up human. The apex predator that chose to be more. Epilogue, 1 year later. Ambassador Rodriguez stood before the Galactic Council representing humanity's first year of membership. The chamber, once designed solely for intimidation, had been subtly modified. The gravity was set to a comfortable average, the atmosphere accommodated multiple species simultaneously, and much to everyone's surprise, there was a coffee machine in the corner. The human delegation yields the floor to the Vrex pack leader, Rodriguez announced. Pack leader Kreth, descendant of the Vrex who once hunted humans in the trials, stood proudly. Around his neck hung a simple leather collar, not a mark of submission but of partnership. The New Eden Cooperative Hunt Initiative has exceeded all projections. Human persistence hunting techniques combined with Vrex pack tactics have revolutionized food production on 17 worlds. From the Morvac section, Bioadmiral Flux pulsed appreciatively. The human-designed disco lights, therapeutic bioluminescence chambers, have reduced stress-related disorders in deep space crews by 60%. Even the Silithari, through their representative voice of harmony, had adapted. Human group therapy methods, combined with our emotional manipulation abilities, have created the most effective diplomatic corps in galactic history. Though we still refuse to play poker with Sergeant Johnson. He cheats. I do not cheat. Johnson called from the human section. I employ psychological warfare. The chamber filled with what had become common laughter. Not just human laughter. but the varied sounds of amusement from a dozen species who had learned to share joy. Thrak, presiding over the council, coiled contentedly. The annual report shows a 400% increase in interspecies cooperation, a 200% reduction in territorial conflicts, and, he paused, the first recorded instance of a Rendari crystal form attempting to learn tennis. It's harder than it looks. Gorvax rumbled defensively. The ball keeps melting. Rodriguez smiled. In 1 year, humanity had changed the face of the galaxy not through conquest, but through contribution. They had shared their music, even if most species found death metal incomprehensible. Their games, poker tournaments were now a diplomatic staple. Their food, though they'd learned to label the spicy dishes clearly after the capsaicin incident. And most importantly, their perspective. If I may, Rodriguez addressed the assembly. Humanity came to the stars expecting to find enemies. Instead, we found people. Different from us, yes. Scary, definitely. But in the end, just people trying to survive in a hostile universe. And if there's one thing humans are good at, it's making hostile places home. He gestured to the mixed groups throughout the chamber, Vrex and humans planning hunts, Morvac teaching Silithari to control their bioluminescence, Rendari and Kektar engaged in what looked like a heated debate about mineral cultivation. You called us Deathworlders, and you were right. Earth is a death world. Everything there can kill you, the weather, the wildlife, the water if you're not careful. But that's exactly why we learn to work together. That's why we're not apex predators in the traditional sense. He picked up his coffee, another human edition that had proven surprisingly popular. We're apex survivors. And the best way to survive? Make sure everyone around you survives too. A dead enemy is just dead. A living ally is infinitely more useful. Even if they cheat at cards, the Silithari ambassador added, which drew another round of laughter. As the session concluded, Rodriguez found himself on the observation deck with Thrak. Earth hung in the viewport, blue and green and deceptively peaceful. Do you ever regret it? Thrak asked. Coming to the stars? Meeting species that could have destroyed you? Rodriguez shook his head. Our ancestors looked at wolves and saw companions. They looked at horses and saw transportation. They looked at the ocean and saw a highway. Why should space be any different? Because space can kill you. So can wolves. Never stopped us before. He smiled. Besides, you've seen our history. Humans are at our best when we're facing the impossible. We went from throwing rocks to throwing rockets in a few thousand years. Give us a few thousand more and who knows? Maybe we'll be teaching the universe to sing in harmony. The universe singing, Thrak mused. A terrifying thought. Nah, Rodriguez grinned. What's terrifying is teaching it to sing in rounds. Have you ever heard Row, Row, Row Your Boat performed by a species with 4 voice boxes? As they talked, the news feeds carried stories of humanity's influence spreading. Persistence hunting techniques being adapted for search and rescue. Human pattern recognition helping solve navigation problems. Earth music being performed by alien orchestras with mixed results. Dogs being introduced to worlds that had never conceived of domesticated predators. And in quiet corners of the galaxy, young aliens of all species played human games, learning lessons humanity had encoded in simple rules. Cooperation beats competition. Everyone can win. The best victory is when your opponent becomes your partner. The Deathworlders had come to the stars. And they brought hope with them. After all, when you evolve on a world where everything tries to kill you, you learn that the best survival strategy isn't being the strongest or the fastest or the deadliest. It's making friends with things that are. Welcome to the galaxy, humanity. Try not to domesticate everything.